Judge rules CDC eviction moratorium unconstitutional. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahashim YAHAWASHI, Bahashim YAHAWAH. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect, the men, women, and children that are predestined to receive salvation and to be the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of Israel. Yahawah is the Heavenly Father's true name in ancient Hebrew, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. YAHAWASHI is the name of his only begotten Son, Savior and Redeemer of the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This is an article that just came out maybe about 2 or 3 hours ago. Actually, about an hour ago. Yeah, 6:48. Judge rules CDC eviction moratorium unconstitutional. So, what does that mean? That means now, these landlords that haven't been getting paid since, I believe, September, maybe even before that, they're now, and they weren't able to evict their tenants because there was a CDC law passed that it would be criminal to evict tenants that was not paying rent. So a lot of people were living in these apartments or living in these houses that were being rented out without paying, and the landlords couldn't do anything about it. But now that this has been deemed unconstitutional, what you're going to start seeing is a lot of people, being evicted. All right. Homelessness is about to skyrocket because the only thing that was keeping these people from not being, homeless was the fact that the landlords couldn't evict them. It would be a criminal penalty if they did so. So, let's get into this article real quick. It says a federal judge in Texas ruled on Thursday that an order from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention temporarily halting evictions amid the pandemic is unconstitutional. In a 21-page ruling, which I briefly skimmed over it, says U.S. District Judge John Barker sided with a group of landlords and the property managers who alleged in a lawsuit that the CDC's eviction moratorium exceeded the federal government's constitutional authority. Although the COVID-19 pandemic persists, so does the Constitution, Barker, a Trump appointee, wrote. The CDC order initially issued by former President Trump in September generally made it a crime for property owners to evict tenants who were unable to pay rent and had no options for affordable housing. Now, you see that unemployment rate is still at an all-time high. All right, a lot of people have been just getting by on their unemployment checks, and they've been getting by with the option of not paying their rent. Right. So now what happens when they don't have that option anymore? All right. And not only do they not have this option of not paying rent, but a lot of people are, back owed on rent. OK, I forgot the exact number, but I was watching, a couple videos by these, economic YouTubers, which it was saying that people are collectively, Americans are collectively backed owed rent, millions of dollars. So now that this is deemed unconstitutional, meaning that now these landlords can go up to these different tenants, tell them that you got 30 days to pay all your rent or I'm going to have to evict you. What is going to happen then? All right. Once again, it's been said that, homelessness was going to be at an all-time high. Biden came out, last year and said what? This is going to be a dark winter. Okay. And we are still in the midst of winter. So we are seeing all these things are coming down the pipeline, man. A lot of people, had comfortability in the fact that they didn't have to pay their rent. They was getting those checks. They might have lost their jobs. Okay. Because a lot of, especially Jake, it's always, things happen and it's always happening worse to you Israelites, man. So a lot of Israelites that were, living with in these apartments that weren't paying their rent because they couldn't afford it because they lost their job, because a lot of Jakes a lot of Israelites, they worked in the service and hospitality sector, which is what got hit the hardest by the pandemic. Okay, now they're going to be forced to have to leave their homes because there is no moratorium, order where landlords have to abide by now. It says those protections were extended by Congress and later under President Biden to last through March. And March is next week. But now you see how this all lines up at the same time. Okay, that he pushed it back to March, but now this court order comes out and say that it's unconstitutional. So now Biden can't even extend this anymore because it's deemed unconstitutional for him to extend it. It says, but Thursday's decision, Barker ruled that Congress lacked the constitutional authority to grant CDC the power to halt evictions nationwide. So there's got to be a nationwide evictions, man. All right, all-time unprecedented amount of evictions that are about to take place. And what does that cause, man? That causes high levels of anxiety. These are people that is not only themselves, but they got family. All right, they got children that they gotta, attend to. So what do you think the mindset people are going to be in this time, man? It's going to be what? Dog eat dog, kill or be killed. It says instead, the agency's order threatened to encroach on landlords' rights under state law. Conservative groups involved in the litigation hailed the decision. The court's order holding the CDC interference with private property rights under the veil of COVID-19 serves as notice to the Biden administration that the Constitution limits government power, said Kimberly Herman, a lawyer with Southeastern Legal Foundation, one of the groups that represented the plaintiffs. Now, they can understand that they can spin this, various different ways because they're trying to push towards this, great reset where one of the goals is to what? To not for there be no such thing as private owned, property, private owned land, private owned businesses. So it says what? You will own nothing and you will love it. That's that's one of the mantras of the World Economic Forum, the Great Reset. You will own nothing and you will love it. All right, everything will be rented out unto you. Now, if nobody owns anything, but stuff is going to be rented out to you, who's going to own it? Well, the government is going to own it. Okay, the government is going to own, these apartments, these houses. Everything is going to be owned, operated, and ran by the government. Okay, it says attorneys for the Justice Department who defended the federal government in the case did not immediately respond for the request. Legal experts expect the case to be appealed to the Texas-based U.S. Courts of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. So as of right now, it's unconstitutional, which gives landlords the freedom to start evicting these tenants that have not been paying. Now, before I seen this, I came across this quick video right here. Well, I'm not gonna play the whole thing, just the first couple parts. It says no rent equals no heat. Are landlords punishing no pay renters? So let's listen to this, a little bit of this first part of this clip.
No rent, no heat. Could this be possible? Everybody, it is Thursday, February 25th, 2021. Now, it appears that some landlords may be using utilities, in this case heat, to try to maybe punish or try to influence their tenants into paying rent. Now, of course, if you ask the landlords, they're just going to say, well, we can't turn on the heat because we can't afford it because we're not getting rent, right? So we told you this was going to turn into a big mess, and we talked about the whole cancel rent movement, and it's a big movement. I mean, nationwide in different cities, there's activist groups trying to get legislation passed where rent just gets canceled. The problem is, and we've talked about this, it turns into a big mess. It's not just as simple as canceling the rent. Why? Because the owners of these buildings and apartments and homes, they have overhead, they have costs. In some cases, especially in multi-unit complexes and apartment buildings, the landlord is responsible for the heat and the utilities. So if they're not getting rent, in many cases, they won't be able to afford the utilities for their tenants. Now, other times it's the tenant's fault and they're the ones not paying it. So you can't blame that on the landlord. But in some cases, there are tenants, and we're going to show you a few examples, that are saying that the landlord is not providing heat. CBSLocal.com out of Boston. Chicago man says he's been without heat for 13 days. His home is 28 degrees. He says, quote, no one should have to live this
Dark
way.
winter.
You can see him walking through his home with a winter jacket on there. That's Chicago. It's obviously freezing right now. MLive.com. Flint condemns Sunset Village apartments after finding residents had no heat or water. All right, Michigan also freezing right now. WKBW.com. Landlords suffering from lack of rent payments. So it's not just the utilities. We also have landlords that have to call their lenders and beg for forgiveness and try to hold off on foreclosure because no rent equals no mortgage payment in some cases. So you see, this is a huge, huge mess. Now, the controversy comes up where some of these tenants, these renters, are saying the landlord does have the money to pay the utilities, and in some cases, the renters feel like the landlord is just trying to punish them by not turning on their heat.
So yeah, I'll stop it right there, man. So you can see, you know, the brewing of the tensions rising. Okay, now once these landlords now have to go because of this, you know, because it was deemed unconstitutional for this moratorium to withhold evictions. Now these tenants can have to go and actually evict these so like now these landlords can have to go and actually evict these tenants. Now what what do you think, you know, what could transpire from this type of you know, condition, or these type of interactions, man? It's, you can already foretell, all right, that it's going to be a lot of anger between the two parties. You see, the scriptures talks about how it's going to be Egyptian versus against Egyptian. All right, I mean, when money is involved, you know, as the saying goes, money make a person act funny. Okay, when money is involved, you know, your livelihood, your home, all right, your comfortability, people are going to lose it, man. People are going to straight lose it, and especially when it's we're in the dead of winter. Okay, and the scriptures YAHAWASHI talked about, you know, pray that your flight not be in the winter. Let me get that. You know, hey, the Lord didn't say that for no reason, man. Okay, he didn't say that for no reason, and we're seeing clearly that this is about to become a major problem in Babylon. All right, this is Matthew chapter 24, verses 18, 19. It says, and woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. Yeah, because if you get you lost your job, whatever, and you have to pay your rent for the last 6, 7, 8 months, and all of a sudden, just like that, it's a winter time, and now your landlord can evict you because you haven't been paying rent, and you can't pay rent, and now you got children, especially if you got newborns, you know, young children that you have to attend to. You get put out of your house, and it's not going to be no pity. All right, there's not going to be no pity, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is that green, man, is that greenback. Okay, so that's why the Lord said, woe unto you that are with child and that give suck in those days. It's going to be hard, very hard for people that are with children, especially infants, you know, toddlers, to survive during a winter with no house, or with no heat. Verse 20 says, but pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Hey, you know what's real spiritual about this is today is the Sabbath. All right, sundown today is the Sabbath, and this just this article just came out about it was deemed unconstitutional to do so. Okay, so we're in the winter, and today is the Sabbath. Today is the Shabbat. So right now, you know, these landlords, they've been waiting. All right, they've been waiting to get their money. They've been waiting to be able to evict, all right, these tenants that have not been paying. And that's what's about to come down the pipeline, man. You know, March is the month of the Passover, the end of March. So we're seeing a lot of things, a lot of prophecies are coming to fruition, man. A lot of hell is about to happen in this land, especially, you know, in that Jacob's trouble. Verse 21, it says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Yeah, because back in the ancient world, there was no such thing as, you got to pay rent to somebody else. You owned your own land, you owned your own property, it was passed down from, your parents or your foreparents, or you bought, a land, and you didn't have to pay rent to somebody. Okay, there was never a time period where you had to pay rent. Even in the inception of America, okay, Babylon. Okay, there was no such thing as you having to pay rent to for your house. You bought the land and you built on that land, and that land was yours, and you passed it down throughout your generation to your children. Okay, but now we're entering into a time where people don't have that. They don't have that luxury. So they're at the mercy of a landlord. They're at the mercy of somebody else. And if this person owns this property and you're not, paying them because you can't, because you lost your job, which you still, like I said before, you still have unemployment at an all-time high. Okay, what are you going to do, man? And Jake don't own shit. Okay. A lot of Israelites, they live in small apartments, so it's not like they could just have all their family members just up in one apartment. A lot of Israelites, they don't even get along with their family members. So we're coming into a time where like I said, man, if the Lord is not on your side, you are not going to be able to survive, man. Straight up and down. This is why the Lord is going to make it known why being in His truth is so precious, man. Being a faithful believer in YAHAWASHI is so necessary. Okay, because He's going to take care of His elect. He has care for His elect. But the rest, the rejects, you're not going to be able to survive these things, man. It's going to be straight purity hell. Okay, 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse start at 18. It says, for because of their pride, actually, let me get this. This is, I've been meditating on the scripture for like the past 2 or 3 months, man. Right here, 2nd Ezra 8, verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. And it's going to be a miserable thing till you get that pink slip and you've been told you got 2 weeks, you got a week to evacuate, to leave the premises. Okay, and then they can call in the local police to enforce you out of there, and you can't pull up no moratorium because that hell was no weight right now, man. Okay, and like I said, we in the dead of winter. You just had those storms that just hit Texas, Jersey over here, where it's been snowing for the past 3 weeks. Okay, so things are not looking up, man. You thinking that 2021 was going to be better? You're going to be easier? Nah, it's only getting worse. So, hey, man, for the ones that are watching, believing, the faithful, understand the times that we're in. Okay, seeing the things, seeing the times. Get your house in order. All right, get yourself, get your mind, right. Be sober, because we are literally in the times of the end, man. All right, and the Lord said that these things were going to come to pass, and we are clearly watching and witnessing these things, man. So, with that, Lord willing, is edifying unto the elect. Call Lord YAHAWAH, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakak Dash. Till next time, Shalom.